The African Blood Brotherhood by Cyril Briggs. The African Blood Brotherhood is probably the first Negro seeker organization to be effected in the Western world, having the sole role and purpose of liberation of Africa and redemption of the Negro race. The organization now numbers over 1,000 men and women of the African blood. It's confined to persons of African blood. This organization is carried out along the lines similar to secret fraternal orders and societies. It has rituals of its own with degrees, passwords, and signs, and a formal initiation with solemn oath is taken. Membership is present in a voluntary enlistment. Subject to rejection is at discretion of the body. Appropriate regalia and uniforms are in consideration. Post commands have been established in various cities, United States, West Indies, Central and South America, and West Africa. The government of the African Brotherhood is the Supreme Council or the War College of Five, which controls the appointment and tenure office of the commanders in various posts, formulates policies, and direct activities and movements of the organization. There are two other sets of officers, the Secretary, the Treasurer, the Chaplain, and Tech, with various posts, and international offices. They are elected by members, with all members participating in the election of the international offices. These officers are subject to the rulings and decrees of the Supreme War Council or the War College. Under the rules of the organization, the word council, when issued in form of instruction, must be considered law by members of the Brotherhood. When issued in form of suggestion, it is expected to the command at least be respectful and consideration. At the present, no stipulation fees are member dues. They are left to the patriotism and the financial ability of each member, as not enough money can be realized for the work of the Brotherhood has in view of a medium fee in dues, unless they're made so large as prohibited to be the great masses of the race. The expedient was adopted, allowing each member to fix his own dues by pledging himself a monthly donation. The amount may be 25 cents a month, 50 cents, or $1. Wherever some individual can give, and the Patriot rules, gives to it hurts. 2/3 of all donations are allocated to the war chest as a central fund for general operations of the organization. The other 1/3 is placed in disposal to the post and to receive and use within the rulings of the War Council for the work of local training and essential industries and science. The following suggestions have been used for the guidance of the members and for the race in general. Affiliate yourself with liberal, radical, and labor movements. Don't be called a Bolsheviki by the same people who call you a nigger. Such a feeling in itself won't resolve our problem, but it will help immensely. Patronize race enterprise and study cooperative spirit, but discrimination between good and bad, honest and dishonest enterprise. Encourage the Universal Negro Association Improvement movement as the biggest thing so far effected in the surface movement. Reject alliances that carry no correspondence of rights and privileges. Remember that such things as rights and privileges always precede alliances and patriotism. Make the cause of other oppressed people your cause, that they may respond in kind, and so possibly effective coordination in one big blow of mighty tyranny. Find possible the study of modern warfare, aeronautics, and artillery branches in particular. Learn a trade. Get into essential industry when possible. Study modern agricultural methods, horticulture, medicine, chemistry, and tech. Encourage those studying anything along these lines. Adopt the policy of race first without, and however, ignoring useful alliances with other groups. Help propagate the race first idea by first studying the subject and then using your knowledge to enlighten your fellows. Invest in race enterprise, but follow your money with active and personal interest. Kill the caste idea. Stop dividing the race into light and dark, and stop harping about West Indians, Southern, and Negroes, and so forth. Let the line of cleavage fall between true Negroes and false Negroes. Help build strong public opinion against the servile, against the race, against ignorance, against morality, and against race debasement. Wage war against alien education that is being taught to our children in the white man's schools. Demand true facts that concern the grand treatment of the Negro race. Articulate race pride in the little ones by instructing them in the home, in the facts of their Negro's achievement. Organize literary clubs for discussion and the study of the Negro and the history of his problems. Ask your minister to teach race history from the pulpit and in Sunday schools and lyceums. And never leave anything to your officers and leaders. Get in the fight yourself. Do your bit financially, orally, in every possible way. So the aims of this organization is this: to liberate the race, 2, absolute race equality. 3, foster a racial self-respect. 4, organize and uncompromising opposition to the Ku Klux Klan. 5, a united Negro front. 6, in industrial development, higher wages for Negro labor, shorter hours and better condition, education, and number 9, cooperation with darker race within the class-conscious white workers. Membership has been confined to the person of African blood, but the point 9 suggests where there was no bar on working with interracial class framework. The organization often exaggerated its size, up to 23,000 members worldwide. However, historians put it about 30,000 to 8,000 members. It was also a part of the ritual, which is Cyril Briggs, who founded this group, carried out in his first issue called Racial Catalysm. And this is the classic definition of black nationalism, arguing the superiority of the Negro race. And the cataclysm went as followed. Question: do you consider yourself in relation to your race? How do you consider yourself in relation to your race? I consider myself bound to it by the sentiment which unites us all. Question: what is it? The sentiment that the Negro race is above all races, the most favorite of the muse of music, poetry, and art, and possess those qualities of courage, honor, intelligence, and necessary to make the best of manhood and womanhood and the brilliant development of the human species. Question: what is one duty to the race? To his race. Answer: to love all race above oneself and to further common interests of all above the private interests of one. To cheerfully sacrifice wealth, ease, luxury, and necessities, and if be it life itself, to attain the race greatness in arms and commence in art, and these three combined, in which there is neither respect, honor, or nor security. Question: how can you further the interests of the race? By spreading race patriotism among my fellows, by unfolding the annals of the glorious deeds and the facts of the noble origin and the splendid achievement of the ancient culture of the Negro race. For those whom alien education has kept us in ignorance of these things, but by combating the insidious and mischievous and false teaching of the school histories that exalt the white man and debase the Negro and tells the white man achievement not only of his ignorance, while relating the only part of the Negro story that refers to as temporary enslavement and partial decadence. By helping race industries in preference above all others, and by encouraging race enterprise and business to the ends of ultimate creation of wealth, employment, and financial strength within the race. By carrying myself as I demand honor and respect for my race. Question: are you proud of your race? Answer: because of the blood of no human being does there flow a most generous race than our own. In the annals of the world, the history of no race is more resplendent than our honest, worthy, glory than that of the Negro race. Members are founded that the first beginning of civilization on the banks of the Nile and development extending southwards to Ethiopia and westwards over the smiling Sudan to the distant Atlantic. So the Greeks came to learn from our fathers and declared they were the most just of men, the favorite of the gods. Briggs, just the kind of things you should do to build up your organization and follow those points. Building up your organization and trying to do things. This video is not really doing the African Blood Brotherhood much justice, and we have to go more deeper and thorough into this video about the things they had to deal with. In the politics of resistance, the African Blood Brotherhood was there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they set up the defense line to protect the people. Many people don't know the defense line in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time was across the railroad tracks. And because these men was veterans and part of the secret brotherhood, they set up the defense for the black community. In fact, they even went down there to save old guy from getting lynched from the people down in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's when the gun battle started. So this is a group that, was definitely about race first, definitely about protecting their people and fighting for their people. Things that we still need to learn is to come about. They had a self-interest. Their self-interest was their people. The power was within their people. The ego or the confidence was within their people. So we have to start thinking along the lines and get back to this thinking. This group was about 100 years ago. Him and Marcus Garvey got into it. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on, because you said he was getting a shot to the UNIA. These pictures you've seen that's flashing across the screen is from his organ, the Crusader. And he was, like I said, this is from the Oregon Crusader. He also said that about black self-determination, that blacks should start their own nation. He was one of the first people that was really building up in the early part of last century, that blacks should start their own nation within a nation. Not just here in North America, but also in South America, because it was a worldwide organization, as you said before, you know, for African redemption. So the African Blood Brotherhood went everywhere. Like you said, he was down in South, he was down in Central America with Henrietta Vinton Davis. We did a video on her, spreading the gospel of race first. Allied to the magazine was an assertion of radical politics of self-defense, prefiguring not just the communist politics of the Depression era, but the Black Power rhetoric of the 1960s. In an article resisting the Ku Klux Klan, Briggs insisted that with us it will be a fight for life as well as a fight for rights. And to the race fighting against mighty odds for an existence, the use of any and every weapon at hand is not only permissible but compulsory. With the murderer clutching at our throats, we cannot afford to choose our weapon. We must defend ourselves with what lies near, and whether that be poison, fire, or what. So from the beginning, the Crusade confirms, the magazine that Cyril Briggs produced, it confirms the politics of resistance. And organizing the force is the only intelligible language of all the world, organized for with self-interest, that the only language the European understand in dealing with the colored races. So you got to have an organization. And the foundation on which all white civilization is really based. So when authorities in Tulsa, we're going to go back to that, identified the ABA as troublemakers in the aftermath of the White Riot, the claim was exaggerated. Although there was a branch of the ABA there, the organization didn't really have a strong base outside of New York. However, the July 1921 issue of the Crusader dedicated 6 pages to the Tulsa riot and masterful example of rhetoric, provocation, and evasion. Briggs' editorial insisted the charge of the ABA instigation is false, and the white authorities of Oklahoma and all other cracker brethren in the southern states know it to be such. The commander of the ABA in Tulsa argues that the accusation that the Tulsa Post of the African Blood Brotherhood fomented and directed the Tulsa riot, the first part is a lie. And whether we directed Negroes in fighting for self-defense is certainly no crime in the Negro eyes, and left for the white Oklahoma's authority to prove. Unless for ourselves, we neither deny or affirm it. Keeping it, see, we don't deny or affirm it, but they was there busting and dumping. The magazine used this occasion to supposed part in the riot to launch a blistering attack on white racists in the South and assert a manifesto to the Black Agency for Self-Determination. So this is the stuff we're going to be talking about, and this, as you see, there's a application to join, you know. So they was protecting the black people against lynchings, other barbarous acts. They held the guns, they held it down. They held the guns, they held it down. So they was not afraid, and they did it on an organized basis and with collective standpoints to build the organization. Now don't be honest, let's give it up to Cyril Briggs. Unknown got through history, but we're going to do more videos on them. And also, if you like what you're hearing, you like in the Black history, subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot more of this coming on out. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace.